JJ the CPA here. I think what is certain out of the next stimulus package, even though everybody's delaying it both sides of the aisle, here's what you need to do to get prepared to make sure you're getting the next stimulus check, assuming it comes out, but you're able to get it ASAP.
JJ, the CPA is here.
All right, so the good news is that the Treasury Secretary really seems adamant that this $1,200 per adult and some dollar amount, at least $500 to kiddos, at least under 18. They're talking about increasing the age. What I want to be clear here, though, is that nothing has been determined for the second stimulus check. Let me be clear on that. But because the Treasury Secretary, who's not a Republican or a Democrat, I understand he's in a Republican administration, but the Treasury Secretary is a pretty neutral position, in my opinion. So let's just not argue about that, other than to say this. When you have a Treasury Secretary that's stomping his foot saying we need to get this done so that we can get checks out, the Secretary of the Treasury also has indicated that he thinks that within a week checks can be arriving to Americans. What'll be a huge plus here is that they already did it one time. So I know there were some issues at the very beginning, for whatever reason, without even trying to go through what all those issues are. So here's what I want you to know. If you got your stimulus check already, whether it was a direct deposit, a check, or you got the little card, if you got it already, you should be in really good shape. If you happen to move in the last 30 days or 60 days, then you need to get a hold of the IRS, which I'm going to give you the phone number in the body of this. It's 1-800-829-1040, and another phone number. It's in the body of this email, the body of this video. If you haven't gotten your stimulus check for the first round, it might be because your income was too high. So for a single individual, it's $75,000 adjusted gross income. If you're over $150,000, you're fully phased out. For married filing jointly, you're basically going to start getting a phase out at $99,000, and at $198,000, you're fully phased out. All that to say, if you didn't get the first one and it was due to income, I don't see that you're getting the second one. The other aspect, though, is that if you hadn't received the first one and you believe that you qualify, meaning your income wasn't low enough, but for whatever reason it hasn't shown up, which there are a lot of Americans, seems like, 1 million Americans plus that haven't received their check that should have received it. So again, 1-800-829-1040. There's another number you can call. I would recommend this other number. I just don't have it memorized. 1-800-829-1040 has been the general number of the IRS for the last 27 years. That's why I know it off the top of my head. The other one is in the body of this video. I'd probably recommend calling that one first. Bottom line is that when you do call, if you haven't received your stimulus check, and you've already gone to the IRS website, it's bigger than Texas. You go to irs.gov. As long as you know how to read English or Spanish, you're going to find options to check on the status, check on your address, if you don't file a return, what you need to do, which I'm sure you've done all that stuff. But what I'm saying is if you've done all that, you still haven't gotten your stimulus check, this $1,200, so I'm not talking about your refund from your income tax return. I'm talking about the stimulus check from the CARES Act that was signed March 27th, just to be clear here. Then call the IRS, because if it's due to you, you believe it's due to you, you want to get that clarified. Obviously, you want to get your money, but if you haven't gotten the first check, I don't know how you're going to get the second check. So bottom line is that you need to clear that up now. Get a hold of the IRS now. Call them as soon as they open, which is typically 7 a.m. Eastern time. Maybe they have different hours. You got to remember, it's COVID. It is what it is. Get on the horn, call them. But here's what you want to have available when you call the IRS is the last filed tax return that you have filed. Okay, so if it's 18 because you have 19 on extension, then have your 18 individual tax return with you when you call the IRS, because they're going to verify information that needs to match what you filed, which is going to be your Social Security, which you're going to know that, but also your address, your filing status. They sometimes will ask for your adjusted gross income, or what your tax was, or what your refund was. They're going to ask some piece of information off your tax return. You need to have it available, because after you've waited, you don't want to have to either dig it up or have to call back after you've waited. So have your most recent tax return with you. I just recommend, if you've already filed 19, also have 18 with you, your 18 and 19 personal tax returns. And whenever you do call them, make sure that you're clarifying to them that you're calling about the stimulus check out of the CARES Act, and that you haven't received it. They're going to probably say, well, have you checked the status online? Yes. Bottom line is, you want them to pull up the account and figure out if they have your address incorrectly. You'll need to be able to provide them your current mailing address. There might be some way that they want to go about verifying that, which they have some ways to verify your identity, which is all a long way of saying you are the only one that can call. And with the IRS, the first person named on a joint return typically needs to probably be the one that calls. I'm sure they'll talk to the second person listed, and we can all get angry about that. But the bottom line is that typically it's easier if the first person listed on the tax return of a joint tax return, there's two lines. The person that's listed first typically would be better to call. If you're calling on behalf of your parent, you need to be with them, period, the end. They're not going to talk to you. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are, and if you start crying, they're not going to talk to you. But if they're with you, that parent is with you, they'll want to verify their information, get clarification from them. So at the end of the day, go online. If you haven't solved it that way, or you still don't know what's going on, then figure it out so that you can make sure that you're getting your second stimulus check, so now you don't have insult to injury. The one thing that the IRS did indicate, and it's good that you made it to here, but the IRS did indicate that if you got a stimulus check based on 2018 and it's more than what you would have qualified for, then if they compared it to 19, you don't have to pay it back. What does that mean? You got a stimulus check, but you had not filed 2019's tax return. If you had filed 2019's tax return and you qualified for less, right, because it's based on income, the IRS said, you know what, we're not going to expect you to pay it back. But if you got a stimulus check, or less of a stimulus check, or no stimulus check based on 2018 because you had not filed 2019, the way that you will get your stimulus check after filing 2019 is to call them. If you still are unable to make that happen, on your 2020 tax return that you will file in 2021, you will be able to get the rest of your stimulus check. Now, that doesn't help you till next year. Here's your takeaway. If you're scratching your head on that one, here's your takeaway. If it turns out you got more than what you should qualify for, you don't have to pay it back. Because when they were figuring out the stimulus checks, they based it on 18 or 19, the latest that you filed. So when they figured it out, if you had only filed 18 at that time, you got some money. Later you filed 19, and if they had based it on 19, you would have gotten less of a stimulus check round one. Well, you're in the same circumstances. You don't have to pay it back. Another way of saying this is that when they do round two, for those of you who have filed 2019, they're going to base it on 2019. So take a look at what your filing status is take a comparison. 2019's not technically due until October 15th, so they're going to base it on whatever it is that you had last filed. All right, hey, so at the end of the day, I just want to make sure you get your money. So here's some options for you. IRS.gov is a great resource. Go ahead and call the IRS. You're going to be talking to somebody that's there just to help you. They're not going to be there to try and audit you or figure out some information about you. You don't need to get angry with them. You don't need to cry to them. All they're going to be able to do is provide information or update information. They have no power. They're unable to do anything other than give you information or update it, so act accordingly. And good luck in making sure, and I mean it in a good way, good luck in making sure that you're getting your next stimulus check. Again, we're waiting on Congress. Right now, there is no second stimulus check, but it does seem like that is a reality that will come into play. All right, hey, I always forget to ask you at the beginning, so if you've made it to here and you're not a subscriber, boom, take a second. It's a way of saying thank you for this information by clicking subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate you. For those that listen to the majority or all my videos, hope you're doing well. And don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. All right, have a great day.